It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day. I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
And welcome back to another Can Crusher Spotlight. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. Guys, thank you for returning to Can Crusher Spotlight. I truly mean it. I love each and every one of you coming back week in and week out to listen to a spotlight about a wrestler out in the world of professional wrestling. Well, this week we have two. We have two professional wrestlers joining us on one spotlight. It is the returning Calvin Couture and Tyler Klein, better known as the Runway. Yes, the Runway is coming on Can Crusher Spotlight, and I'm super excited to talk to these guys. I just hope they can help fix me. You guys all know my fashion sense. I like cargo shorts and hoodies and cut-off shirts when I'm at work. Still with cargo shorts, because that's what I wear. These guys are the best dressed guys in professional wrestling. They are the most fashionable tag team ever, and they are also your 2 PW Tag Team Champions. The Runway will be joining us here real quick, but you know what else is cool to wear? Collar and elbow. Yeah, we have a promo code for you as well. It's Can Crushers, all one word. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. Al Snow's coming up next to tell you all about it. But first, we have to tell you about one more thing. Guys, give us a 5-star review. Head over to Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Leave us a cool review. Be like Daniel Spencer that was really so cool and said, this is a trashy podcast. It is a trashy podcast. We talk about garbage every once in a while. But today, we're not talking about garbage. We're talking about the Runway. The Runway, the most fashionable team in professional wrestling. Al Snow and then Calvin and Tyler join me on the line.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, guys. I told you I love these guys. My favorite tag team right now. No matter what I say, though, I'm sure I have a little bit of heat with one of the two. And it's not Tyler, because Tyler loves me. Guys, on the show right now is the most fashionable tag team ever. Your 2 PW Tag Team Champions. The fashionista himself, Calvin Couture, and the trophy boy, Tyler Klein. Gentlemen, how are you?
Fine, I guess, but we have a lot of stuff to discuss with you and also Megan a little bit.
Oh, we're jumping right into this right now.
Oh, we're jumping.
We're jumping.
Yeah. I mean, I know how I feel, Calvin. How do you feel?
Well, it's interesting because, Megan wants to be a runway girl. She wants to be a runway model, and then she doesn't even like talking about the runway. That's great. That's great. That's really great.
Yeah, she
Thanks,
just
Megan.
legit talks about and gushes over that George wearing full.
Ew.
Yeah. And we're gonna have some. We have some. Obviously, it's why Megan didn't show up today for this. So
clearly,
yeah, clearly.
Well, if we're gonna
runway girls,
disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I knew right off the bat, because when I called you, Tyler's always upbeat and bubbly, and it depends on sometimes how I get Calvin, but he definitely sounded salty, and I was like, oh no, what is Calvin bringing to me today? And it's a lot of sass.
I'm not salty. I just don't forget.
I know, and I thought we put that water under the bridge. We hugged it out at one point.
Like I said, people don't forget.
Oh, all right. So what these guys brought up right off the bat is the last IWC event. The Runway made their debut against the main event, and you guys heard me at least saying I wanted to talk about it, and all Meghan wanted to do was talk about, Duke and Gannon and randoms sitting along ringside. What?
She wanted to, not talk about the models that we had, the looks that we had. Instead, she talks about the most unfashionable person in the entire building, Bradley.
Yet,
Heel Bradley.
Yet she wants to be one of our runway models. Like, Meghan, I don't understand. You're telling me one thing, you're telling people another thing. What's it going to be, girl? Like, come on, you gotta. What are you doing here?
I mean, if that's the type of company she keeps, that type of unfashionable company, do we even want her as one of the runway girls? I don't know.
Wow. She has links with others too. So, she's a big fan of Jock Sampson. I know you guys have had some run-ins, and yeah.
Respectable,
right? The Gambinos. You guys,
once again, mad respect to the Gambinos.
Okay. Hardcore Hammer Time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I knew that's what the line. 1 and 2 always good.
Yeah, no, they need to go.
So are we saying we're going to see an attack? Since we're booking more tag team matches on IWC, are we going to see an attack? I mean, clearly you're not going to say yes,
Where's
Mark.
our time?
Oh.
I don't know. Is that the time?
No, because let's be honest here. If we're talking about hardcore Hammer Time, how's Hooven Thankful this month? I mean, he walks and it breaks. So let's be real. He can't get out there. He's brittle. He's about to fall apart. So realistically, we know who the star of that team is. And I've had my run-ins with Jamie Jameson. And you know what? I came up with him. So bring it on, Jamie. That's all I'm saying. You will not expect me coming at you because, yeah, you might be bigger than me, but guess what? I'm here to fight. And I think we proved that no matter what, we are here to fight. So regardless of your size, who you are, how you wrestled, where you wrestled, who you wrestled, it doesn't matter. We're here to fight.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Wow. At least I'm not taking it. It's all on Meghan right now, so I'm happy about that. Good.
Well, I mean, you didn't change the subject.
I tried.
You go on and on and on and on and on about it. I mean, I didn't hear the change. I didn't hear a, hey, Meghan, let's get back on task. Let's not talk about...
She's just upset that she wasn't one of our runway models. I get it.
That track record's not gonna be,
Well...
Her fault.
All right.
Not saying yes, not saying no, but it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. All right. Let's talk about your new runway models that showed up at IWC. I mean, how far across the earth did you have to go to find these beautiful women? Or were they just knocking at your door, pandering, saying, we want to be in the runway, like Meghan Nelson?
Well, not anyone.
Come to us.
Yeah, not anyone can just be one of the runway's models. They are hand selected.
It's an arduous task. I mean, we only had 2. We could have fielded more, but we're that selective that it could have only been those 2.
So it's a tight-knit society.
We had, yeah, exactly. We had guys, girls, it didn't matter. But we decided that to pick the 2 best of the bunch, and those 2 were the clear winners.
And we had a significant look that we wanted to achieve and a message that we wanted to send. And I think we sent it very well by the models that we chose and what they were wearing. So
for sure. I agree.
Mission accomplished.
So let's talk about the match that you guys debuted in, and then we'll get to 2PW because there's so much in 2PW we want to talk about as well. Essentially, the main event defeated you guys with an illegal maneuver as well. Too many people in the ring at one time, and it just wasn't right. So, do we see you coming back after the main event, or just like, all right, whatever, these guys had to cheat to beat us, and now all of a sudden you're going to head towards, Money Shot or whomever else in IWC?
Well, I think we made a statement that, we are in IWC. You will know who we are and that we are a threat, even though we lost. So any of these other teams can say whatever they want, like that we lost, and we might not deserve a shot at the titles, or we might not deserve a shot at them, but they're sounds like excuses to me.
I mean, let's face it, we did go up against the most successful tag team in IWC to debut against. Nothing against the main event. They're awesome guys, but they're like us. They're everywhere. They've got the experience. They've got that. So why not go and make a debut against the biggest tag team?
Yeah, that's perfect. And it was so close to you guys getting the win, but just a little bit so far away as well. Let's talk about how you guys actually met, and then we'll switch over to 2PW, because we pandered on it on both spotlights for both of you guys, but we really never found out how the Runway, the Fashionista and the Trophy Boy, just made this connection and made one of the hottest tag teams out there right now.
Well, I mean, through everything, obviously the miracle of social media is how essentially Calvin and I got to know each other. It was in Massachusetts, he's here in Pittsburgh. I found somebody who was, essentially had a very similar aesthetic to something they were already building. A lot of respect for the amount of work that Calvin put into his characters, put into how he looked, everything else like that, really getting that great era of wrestling that I enjoy, where it's more about who you are, what you're wearing, the showmanship, that as opposed to how many different flips you can do before you hit a move. Like that's essentially what drew me to Calvin, and really just wanting to get out of Massachusetts and make a change and start the tag team here. I mean, we didn't start off as a tag team right away once I moved. It took a little time, and we were a tag team that actually started and came up during a global pandemic and worked on that while others were sitting at home.
Yeah, eating donuts or something.
Too, and something that you kind of mentioned, I think the main thing that kind of really drew everything, and I know Tyler spoke upon it a little bit, is we had the same vision. We had a lot of the same ideas whenever it came to what we wanted to put out there. So it really just made sense to do it as more of a team, and see how we can work off of each other, and the chemistry of just having that natural idea and vision. And I think it's really, really paid off, because I can say I've been in countless teams since I've started, and it's hard to force that team feel, and it doesn't feel like it's something that's forced, which I think makes for some of the most successful tag teams. And yeah, it's just having the same vision and the same ideas, and working off of that to do what's best for the team and not just individually. Because, we are, of course, individual wrestlers, individual characters, but it gets enhanced when we're together as a team. So, and I think that's huge, because I think a lot of tag teams anymore are just individuals that get randomly put together and have to kind of find that along the way. So it's interesting whenever you get to kind of mold your own and mesh your own and make things work. So that's definitely something that I think sets us apart from a lot of others, is it just doesn't feel like a random team put together.
And you're right. It feels like, and I'll show my age, and you guys know it already, that you guys are a Midnight Express, a Rock and Roll Express, a Heart Foundation, even like a Killer Bees, because it's there. You know you guys go together, and it's not, no disrespect, John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, that, two great singles wrestlers, but it just doesn't work because it doesn't work. So you guys did it the old school way. And I bring up a lot of those names because they're my favorites. Who are some of yours? And you guys have a different style from the Rock and Roll or Midnight or this, that, or the other. But who are some of the ones that when you guys are watching tape studies that you're like, this is who we need to watch because they are the foundation, essentially, of tag team wrestling? Because I don't see you guys, no disrespect, is the Steiners or Doom or the Road Warriors or anything.
Mm-hmm. No, a lot of who I've been watching and who I've been getting inspiration from lately, 3 teams come right to mind. The Quebecers.
Oh my God.
Because they had a really good dynamic. The Beverly Brothers, which I know they weren't very, very popular, but they really had that aura about them. And then this is kind of a random one put together, but it was one that I was always drawn to as a, as I was watching wrestling when I was younger. Money Incorporated. Because I think with Money Incorporated, they weren't necessarily a team as come up as a unit, but they were 2 characters and 2 wrestlers that just worked together based on their characters, so it made sense. And even though they weren't a regular team, they really became that unit coming together, and they kind of had the same ideas and the same concept of what they wanted to be as a team. So those would probably be 3 of my teams that I would say that I've been watching lately, just to study and get inspiration from.
In Money Inc., actually one of the most successful teams out there. A couple title runs. I'm sure you guys listening to the podcast, I'm not sure if the Runway has heard this, but the English professor and I drank with the Beverly Brothers one time in New York City, which was unbelievable within itself. And the Quebecers shocked me. That one shocks me, but I do see it now. I do. Tyler, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, Calvin has, all those teams, and those are, great things that we kind of look at. I mean, I've also got a couple that I like, and I kind of thought of whenever I've been looking at tape study, and mine are a little bit more recent. They may not either be everybody's favorite tag team, but they're also ones that have a little bit of a different dynamic. So like my first one was always La Resistance when they first came out, just because it's very, to me, it was really great character work. There's a lot of tag teamers. They were a coherent tag team. And that they were one of my favorite tag teams, just because I always am drawn to a very strong heel tag team. And then my other one is, of course, the Fashion Police or Brizango, whichever one you want to go with. But they were they are a very similar gimmick, and it's a shame that they're not on TV anymore, but they were one of my more favorite tag teams, and they're ones that could go. They're a little bit like us. They're a little bit of a tweener. They can either be booed, the bad guys, or they can be faces and cheered. It's a little bit of both. So, like, I really enjoy watching their stuff and seeing, because they are smaller, it's kind of like we are, what we could possibly incorporate with that as far as movesets and just character and looks and everything else like that, and just really exuding, what we have, which is the fashion sort of angle.
You brought up the Fashion Police. We'll just leave them at that because I really didn't like the Brizango name. I like the Fashion Police a hell of a lot better. Most recently released from the WWE. Do you guys think they can pop up? They can really pop up. I think they would slide in good in Impact or, you know, someplace like that.
Mm-hmm. I think they could go into Impact or a place like that. I really do. Both very, very, you know, talented. Both of them did essentially get try to get a little bit of a push, and they were getting a tag team push. I just think that with the current state of things in WWE, it's just that, you know, they are very popular outside of the wrestling ring, or at least, you know, with social media and stuff like that. And I think that could have been one of the driving factors, because Tyler Breeze is really huge on social media with everything that he's done with all of his gaming stuff. And I think that kind of, you know, ran the course of why personally, that's probably one of the reasons why they were like that, was because he was, you know, he could make money off of doing that, because how popular shows were. Now it's probably more popular now that he's outside the WWE and more free to create. So, but
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I think with both of them, I mean, I think you can see them show up wherever. I think it's just going to be interesting to see if they show up somewhere as a team, or if they show up somewhere, you know, one-on-one, because they're another duo that didn't really start as a duo, but it kind of makes sense for them to find each other and kind of be that team. Now, I don't know if that was more out of convenience for that time because they were trying to reinvent themselves, or what exactly it was, but I think it's going to be interesting to see if they do pop up, where it's going to be. I could definitely see Impact being the place where they would go and have the most success. I've always liked what Impact does. I think that Impact's a different type of animal, because they don't try to be somebody that they're not, and it really gives performers a place to really develop and kind of reinvent themselves. And I think that that's really necessary in wrestling, especially in this day and age, because you can't always be doing the same thing that you've been doing, and you have to think of different ways to reinvent yourself and to change it up, even if it's really small. So I definitely think that, you know, that's a way that they can find themselves, and I think that, you know, they'll find where they're going to be and where they're going to end up next. I'm really excited to see where that's going to be, especially for both of them, because they're super talented, and it's interesting. I think it's an interesting state in the wrestling world that we're in right now.
Calvin, that's a great point. Now, I actually want to bring that up, and this wasn't even on my list to talk about, but there is so much wrestling out there, and let's just say the four bigs, WWE, AEW, Impact, and NWA sold out today really quick. You guys know we record this a week early, so it's now a week late, but all four of them are completely different anymore. You know, WWE is still all entertainment, no matter what you say. Yes, wrestling is sprinkled in. AEW, to me, it's still that indie feel, you know, going big. It's like the new generation of wrestling. Impact, exactly. I agree. It's, you know, they're tagged with a lot of developmental places like OVW or Monster or stuff like that. And then NWA is just old school. This is what we're doing. We're doing old school. So you have hours and hours and hours of wrestling out there. If you only want old school, go to old NWA. Are you guys legit watching everything like we try to do? Because it's, all right, let's face it, it's a work week of watching wrestling anymore.
Yeah, no, actually, and it's kind of crazy because I'm very guilty of just not really watching a lot of the current stuff, and it's not that I don't want to watch the current stuff. It's just, like you said, there's so much current stuff that I feel like I don't always have time to watch the current stuff. And I'm bad with even, like, I love it. I love what NWA is doing, but I can't even follow up with them as much anymore. I think the last current thing I watched actually was the Battle Riot from MLW. I think that was actually the last thing that I watched that was current. Because for me, I enjoy watching wrestling that I grew up with. I enjoy watching wrestling that I feel like I get the most from. I like watching wrestling that no one's watching right now to get inspiration for other things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm of course I'm always watching the WWE events on Peacock when it's working.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day. And then I try to catch up on AEW as much as I can, but it's really hard. Like you're right. It's like it's work watching so much wrestling and trying to keep up on what's going on that it's almost, sometimes you're almost better off watching recaps just because it saves time.
Lots of time.
But yeah, it's hard, and you really have to pick and choose on what you want to watch and what you want to enjoy. Because I think sometimes if you force yourself to watch so much, you stop enjoying it, and that's wrestling's supposed to be fun. It's not. It's not supposed to be a hassle or a chore. And I think it turns into being a chore, and that's whenever it's just not as fun. So. Watch what you're into. Watch what you want to watch, and I think a lot of people are afraid that that they're going to miss something, or that they don't want to turn it off because you never know what's going to happen. But you'll find out. You'll find out.
Kinda.
In the age of social media that we're in, you definitely find out if something happened, and there's definitely going to be a clip of it. So
in seconds anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So you guys are going all over the place. We're still lingering about not talking about 2PW yet, but we'll get there. You guys are all over the place now. That's awesome. That really is. Mm-hmm. But is there some place that, you have a pin mark saying, this is where we want to go before we, head off into Impact or, AEW or any of the bigs? Is there some little, and I'm not saying little, but some indie place that you're like, this is it. This is where we have to get to because shit's real there?
Honestly, it's kind of funny that you say that. I was actually thinking about that today and kind of thinking of like,
yeah,
where I want to be, and where I would like to make a mark at least once. The one that comes to mind is I would love to go make a mark at Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place that I definitely want to go and try to make a mark. And we were even talking earlier about, ironically enough, trying to get up into the Massachusetts, New England area again to make our mark. Since we've made it in Pittsburgh, we might as well go back and make it up there. So we were definitely talking about Limitless. Chaotic being a goal as well. Right now, I would like to see at least a match or two in MLW for us. I mean, and that's a little bigger. But that's definitely a place where I'd like to utilize the skill set that we have and bring us something a little different to the table. But independently, I mean,
Fest,
really, there's a lot of places.
The other day.
Yeah, and there's a lot of places that I would love to get to and to go. Any opportunity that comes up, I always try to take the most advantage of. So it's really one of those are definitely the places that come first to mind whenever we think that. I don't know, Tyler, am I missing any that you were thinking of?
I mean, not really. Like, we want to get a little bit more into the Massachusetts area, like Calvin said. Since I'm originally from there, and there are places that I can reach that I have a little bit more connection with. Like Calvin's got his connections here that he's built over time. There are people up in Massachusetts who I've known for a while that would want to get back in touch with. Like, I've loved what Limitless is doing. They've really got a lot going for them, as well as Beyond. And Beyond is bringing in people from all over, because you've got people from the Pittsburgh area, you've got people from different places, different cities. So they're really reaching out, and it's really awesome to see that, because it's just bringing a whole lot more wrestlers to the forefront of all of this, and it's really great.
Yeah,
Massachusetts, definitely, yes. As far as like a bigger thing, I'm gonna be I mean,
Uh-oh.
AEW or Dark is like as a one-off would be great, to see, but we all know how those kind of matches end. So I personally would say like Impact, or like Calvin said, MLW, something that's definitely very possible, especially with MLW being really doing more with like the bigger rumbles and stuff like that. And we know people who've been on it, and see who we can make connections with, really.
Okay, so you guys have went north. So I want to know, we have connections. OVW and Al Snow. Would you like to go see the historic Davis Arena, or maybe trek down to like anything like that down in Florida or anything?
Of course,
well,
yeah.
Definitely Florida.
Yeah,
duh.
Yeah, and I mean, when we're talking about Florida, Fest is on our radar. I mean, they're doing some great things. I mean, Daddy himself, Effie's their champion, so it's always a fun time whenever Effie's involved. And yeah, OVW, it could be something that's on the radar. If things line up and everything aligns, then that would definitely be a place that we could pop up in next. It really just depends. We're not somebody, like, we're not a team that will miss out on an opportunity. We're going to take all of the opportunity that we can to continue to get ourselves out there.
Yeah, and another place that you guys are, which I think is one of the greatest promotions going right now. You guys know I will wave the Camp Leapfrog flag. I love everything about it because, yes, there's wrestling involved, but it's a sitcom, it's a rom-com, there's horror. It is a true life reality show slash movie presentation. Yeah,
soap opera.
It really is, and I hate saying the thing that like, oh, wrestling is soap opera for men. Well, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's men, whatever. But this is actually a soap opera. This is,
yeah,
I love it,
and that's what's so fun about it is, they do different events and it was something that was just supposed to be a one-time thing. And, it really caught on. And I think it gave not only the wrestlers, but the fans something to look forward to while we work on through the pandemic. And I think that's something that's really huge is it brings a group of people together that really want to make wrestling better and have fun with it, because I think people forget to have fun with wrestling. It's serious and it's real, but at the same time, you got to have fun with it because at the end of the day, why are you doing it?
Right. My favorite episode or saga or whatever is still when you and both of you and Effie were the hosts. That was a Valentine's one, right? I mean, I've watched them all.
Frog.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
That is also one of my favorites.
Oh, imagine that.
Also one of my favorites.
Heavily featured. Of course, it's gonna be our favorite. It's one of the. I mean, I've seen, and it's not just us. It's not. Plenty of people who really do put it up that Love Frog was their all-time favorite episode of Camp Leapfrog, just because of the story, because of the people who are on it, what it brought to it, and how the matches and how good the matches are. I mean, all the matches in Camp Leapfrog are always so well put out and everything, or well thought out and everything. But Love Frog was just something completely different. It was a huge encapsulated story that went from beginning to end and just kind of just told it all in a single setting, which is really great. And this, that's the big thing that Leapfrog likes to do.
Yeah, they do. All right, we're still pandering on 2PW because that's the way that we keep everybody around, because you guys have a huge match coming up, but we're not there yet. Let's get a little personal with you guys as we dive into just separate random things.
Okay.
And I know this is one coming right off the bat because I've been asking everybody this, and I want you guys' take because I didn't get to ask you guys during your spotlights, your solo spotlights. There's many different stigmatisms in wrestling, and together or separately. If you guys could just, let's eliminate all of them, but what is the number one that you guys want to say it doesn't belong because it ruins wrestling and, maybe the fans' interaction or something?
Oh, that's a good question.
I've gotten better since your spotlight, Calvin. I really have.
I can say that you have. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Well, great. I get to do a lot of editing now because we get a lot of ums and ahs.
Stigmatism.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would think for me, like, one of the things that I think needs to go away from wrestling, I mean, just to kind of throw something out there different, because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't actually, belong in it, is, like, how do I word this?
I can go if you want to.
Yeah, you go. I gotta think a little bit. More because, like, with how I think about it, it might be like I just have to consider my words carefully when I say it. I don't need to get.
My thing is the idea that a wrestler has to look a certain way, or the idea that a wrestler has to be a certain height, a certain build. And I don't want to say the whole thing that wrestling is for everyone, because that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's a way that you can go about respecting what others have done before you and then just being a dick about it. And I think that there are a lot of people out there now that are just being a dick about it because if you don't look a certain way, they don't respect you. Or if you don't do a certain thing, they don't respect you. Or if you don't, do something specifically, they don't respect you. And I think that's not fair for people that really do try hard. Everyone, I don't want to say excuses for everybody, but everyone has their own issues and things that they're dealing with themselves. And you don't know how hard somebody's working. You don't know how much someone's hustling in other ways to get themselves to where they have to be. And I think it's really unfair for people to judge you because of that. I know for me personally, I've had to work extra hard because I'm not 6'2". I'm not 225. I'm not the most buff guy ever, and I know that, and I work to get to where I have to be. But that doesn't mean that I can't give you just as good of a show as someone else. That doesn't mean that I don't care as much. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out there and give my all to give the fans the best show that I possibly can to prove myself. So that would be my thing is I think that whenever people say, oh, well, you don't look like a wrestler. And I'm like, well, what does a wrestler look like to you? Because it's not all about guys looking like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior anymore. No disrespect to guys that do look like that. But I think, it's just like actors don't look a certain way.
Right.
Actresses don't look a certain way. So it's kind of, I think that's kind of something that it seems like people are getting away from, which is good. But I think it's still there, and that's something that kind of bothers me a little bit.
Okay. I support that wholeheartedly, yes, because it was WWF. It was the monster attitude era that, everybody had to be, like you said, 6'2" was a small guy at 240. And if you weren't 7 foot, you weren't getting a title. So, yeah.
Right.
Tyler? Did you choose your words first of all?
I have to go the same route as Calvin on this one. But I'm going to say more along the lines of just people, just spitefulness in wrestling. And I've been one of the major complaints that I've had. It's like a lot of people, they see somebody being successful, or they see somebody being, not a lot of people, but some people, they see their peers going out and going places and really, doing a lot. But instead of being, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's great, being spiteful about it, talking about the places they work or where they've gone. And because those places seem to be different and maybe even be more popular, they decide to put those people down as opposed to, being, oh, that's pretty awesome. Congratulations. Like taking it as a negative and then just kind of being spiteful with it. Like that needs to definitely, get out of wrestling. I mean, like Calvin says, jealousy is a disease, obviously. I hate to use this thing, but, that's essentially what it is. And, being happy for one another and your friends who are going off and doing things, like, I think that's more of a way of building and a less toxic, way of thinking about wrestling. I mean, that's just really my 2 cents on it, just because it's something that I've noticed and it's something that has really sort of bothered me a little bit lately, which is, it's just one of those things. But like, that's why it was kind of hard to choose my words carefully, because I wanted to like, put it out there and everything, but it's like, I didn't want to just be a huge jerk about it. But, like Calvin said, and I completely agree, it's like wrestling, you don't have to look a certain way anymore. There's plenty of people that are going to remember, a wrestler for their personality or what they wore or, their interactions. And the only thing that matters at the end of the day, what people don't forget, or that people do forget, is that it's not about you. It's about the people buying the ticket. Ethan! And if those people aren't coming back, then, that presents a problem. That's kind of essentially my 2 cents about it.
No, but that makes perfect sense, because you see that. You see it all over the place. If you're successful, somebody's going to hate you because you're doing something that maybe, oh man, I've been in the, and we'll keep it in wrestling. I've been in business for 15 years, and I never made a trip to Florida, or I never made it to so on and so forth. And yeah, do you guys feel, now I'm going to jump off on it, do you still feel that, because you hear stories about when, the Wild Samoans were in, the Rock and Roll Express were in, do you feel it's so cutthroat anymore? Or is it a work in progress that everybody is kind of on the same page anymore?
That's a good question.
Yeah, good question.
Wrestling's always going to be cutthroat. I mean, it's just that type of environment. Wrestling doesn't do any favors for anybody. Wrestling doesn't owe anyone anything. And at the same time, I think people forget that you don't owe wrestling anything either. I think what's great is that now, we're in a different era where people are celebrated for being different, and there's more opportunities to stand out. I think the independents right now are the best that they've ever been. And I think that's a great thing, because you're getting to see a lot of varieties. You're not just seeing the same people, the same type of wrestling. You're not seeing versions of other people either. You're seeing people be uniquely them and get noticed for being uniquely who they are. I think it's great because you don't always want to be compared to other people. You obviously want to be the first you, which I think is huge. And I think there's a lot of people right now that are the first them that have either yet to be discovered or are on the rise. And I think that's something that's great, but wrestling will always be cutthroat.
Do you feel anything? Yeah, that was a simple answer. Thanks. Do you, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with him. Like, he's completely right with what he said.
Do you guys get any of that, though? I mean, on a personal level, between Mark, Calvin, and Tyler, do you feel, and I'm not throwing a name out because we all know how that goes over here on Can Crushers. Yeah. I get shit on. But do you feel that Team ABC is just cutting you down because you are over places?
It depends. It depends on
I
where you are.
I wouldn't say team. I wouldn't say like there's a team. It would have to do with individuals, just because you can't loop everybody in with a team. But like Yeah, I think it depends on where you are. Really,
I think there are always going to be people that don't want to see you succeed for whatever reason, whatever. But honestly, for someone that does that personally, it just makes me want to work harder. And whenever I get opportunities, and whenever we do get out there more and get more places, it's it's at the end of the day, it's not their experience in the business, and it's not what they're doing. If anyone wants to waste time by cutting us down or cutting others down, that's a pretty sad way to be in the business, and a pretty sad way to focus more so on others than you're focusing on yourself. It's sad. It's a sad thing, because it's at the end of the day, you got to worry about your damn self. And if you're worrying more about what others are doing and where others are going, and really the outcome of what someone else is doing than what you're doing, I mean, all you're going to be is a bitter person. And I don't have time for people to be bitter. I don't have time to be bitter.
Nope.
The only thing I'm doing is, I don't have time to be bitter. I'm trying to get better. So whenever they're being bitter, I'm going to get better. And you just got to block people out sometimes. You just got to block out the hate, what people think of you, and you just got to do you, because people are too worried about pleasing certain people instead of doing their own thing. And I think that's what holds people back. And I'm not trying to be held back.
Yeah. Just to recap that, then, essentially, you being bitter, not saying you, Calvin, you can't put your best foot forward then either, because that bitterness rubs off. Not only in wrestling, but that is a great life advice part of Can Crushers this week. Exactly. Tyler, I'm glad you're on the show, because you're letting Calvin do, he's kind of taking over the leadership of the Runway right now. And
He always does. He always does. It's okay.
That's something I'm trying to work on. I get started and I get going and I just don't stop.
Right.
You just can't shut him up.
And that's okay. All right. August 28th, we have a tag team championship match coming up at 2PW. You guys are the reigning, defending, undefeated tag team champions of 2PW. And we're going right into a freaking fashionista street fight match against the STDs, or sexually talented dudes, whatever you want to call them nowadays. Yeah, I don't know how PC we're going to be, but they're always going to be the STDs to me. Yeah. Holy hell. Calvin, I've seen you in a couple of street fights here and there. What do we expect on August 28th at 2PW? Because I'm really excited.
You're going to see a lot. I mean, this is Calvin's creation. So you're going to see a lot of things that you are not going to normally see in a regular street fight. But you're going to have to actually go to the show to see everything. I'm pretty sure we're going to, definitely bring it. We're bringing, Calvin's own take on a street fight.
Oh yeah, there's going to be surprises leading up all of it. I have some surprises I probably don't even know about yet.
That you don't know about yet?
Yeah, I don't know. You never know. You never know what I'm going to find or bring.
Right, we're roughly 2 weeks away from it, so yeah, anything can happen.
We have so much time.
That's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And like we have anything to be worried about anyway, so
right.
There is that. I mean, they get their rematch. It's a rule. But it's not like we're worried about it. We have to beat them one-on-one now instead of beating them with who were the other two? I can't even remember.
I still have a little bit of business to take care of with them. We took their titles, and I'm ready to send them packing.
Oh,
exactly.
So, talking about tag teams, 2PW has probably one of the greatest tag team divisions out there right now. You guys waving the flag at the top, being the champs that you are. You have the STDs, but a little word association or something about all of these guys I'm going to mention, because I have 4 more teams that on any given Sunday at any organization are champs. You have the Sons of Liberty, you have the Jesus Club, you have Tito and Don, and then you have the Hossman that, holy crap, this is a stacked tag team division. You know, we see this hashtag now, more tag matches all over the place.
Hashtag book more tag matches.
Whatever the hell it is. I don't care. It's just we want more tag team matches. Come
Excuse me. We care. Excuse me, we care.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you care. I know you care, but I'm just saying that, like, the hashtag is, I'm talking about the greatest tag team division right now. It's 2PW. And I'm giving you your dues, and I just... Go ahead. You say the hashtag one more time. This way I get it correct.
Hashtag book more tag matches.
Okay.
Cowards.
So let's talk about this division a little bit. Again, you're champs, so all these guys are climbing at your heels. Any of them, though, that you're like, maybe if we take a little snooze before the match, are you worried about?
No.
Not one bit.
No, and I'll tell you why I'm not worried about any of these teams. While I respect a lot of these guys and what they do, they're not up and down the road every weekend wrestling. All right, they don't go as many places as they can to hone their craft. That is why we are the tag team champions, and that is why we're going to continue being the tag team champions of Prospect Pro Wrestling.
We have what it takes. We have the drive, and we have the experience that a lot of them lack.
All right.
Sorry, as we're doing this, I'm fixing my hair in the mirror just so you know what I'm doing.
And that's why you're the trophy boy.
Yeah, I gotta look good even when I'm not on video.
But back to the Prospect Pro Wrestling Tag Team division. I'm not afraid of any of those teams. In fact, I want to wrestle all those teams. I want to wrestle every team that comes through that division. I want to prove why we're the top team in Prospect Pro Wrestling and in the area. And you know what? In the country today. Because at this point, we'll take anyone on. I'm not afraid of anybody. I want to wrestle anybody, and bring it on. I don't care if you're a member of the Hossman. I don't care if you're bigger than us. It doesn't matter. Bring it on. We're going to defend our titles, and we always have something up our sleeves. So we'll see what happens at the Fashionista Street Fight, but I think the odds are in our favor on that one. I don't know.
It's your match.
It's my match.
It's time to present a cure to TPW with the STDs, and that's to end them for real this time.
A little bit of cream.
Let's clean them up.
A little bit of cream
clean
takes
them up.
care of STDs. Yeah. That's all it's all about. You brought up that you'll take on anybody in the world, essentially. So we have you guys as dream matches. Again, I keep reverting back to the spotlights on the one-on-one, but now that we have the Runway on, their own spotlight, which, thank God, we finally got this booked and get it set up. I want a couple tag teams, though, of who you guys would like to face out there right now. You guys want the Usos, the Bloodline? Do you want, anybody from MLW? Do you want to put Ethan Page and Josh Alexander back together as the North? Something like that.
First team that comes to mind, we actually already spoke about. I think Runway versus Fashion Police needs to happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty obvious one.
Yes.
I think there's plenty of people that want that to happen. I've never been big on, like, whenever somebody gets released, putting it out to the world that it's like, oh, hey, I really want to wrestle these, be a great match. Because to me, it's not really my thing. I mean, they're getting released, stuff's happening for them, putting those out there right now. But once everything gets completely settled, that would be something, like, in the back of my mind that I would love to see. I'd love to experience it. I'd love to have it. I mean, that would be one of my dream matches without saying it all over social media. But that is one of the matches that I would love to have. As far as another one, honestly, Oh gosh. Let's see. I'm gonna go out and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Just because I like them both, Effie and Alley Catch.
Ooh, Bussy.
Team Bussy would definitely be a great match. I mean, the amount of character in that ring alone, the amount of the style of match, the type of match, the just overall enjoyment that I would get out of that match would be great. Personally, I mean, those are my two choices right now because I absolutely think that they just have the best cohesion as far as like tag teams go.
Well,
that's me.
You only really brought one to the table, Tyler, as Calvin brought up the Fashion Police one because we've talked about it 25 minutes ago, but that's all right.
Okay, you know what?
What?
Shut up.
Okay.
He has a point. I'm sorry. He has a point.
Okay, you got it from me. I will sit here and yell
from your den. You'll yell from your den.
I'm not in a den. I'm in my bathroom fixing my hair.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Calvin, do you have another one? Or do you want to steal his and say, "Oh, I just thought of this one. It would be Effie and Alley Catch."
No, I'm good. I'll think of another one. No, I mean, just trying to think of like current teams or teams that would come back together. It's interesting. I'm just trying to think of a team that would really bring out the best in the Runway. That's hard because I mean we put our effort into everything that we do.
It is hard because, like, you think about it, even on the independents, like, there's not a ton of traveling tag teams that are essentially, just a coherent tag team. There are a lot of places you go, there are tag teams that are just kind of stuck together. We've wrestled a lot of the ones that are coherent tag teams, like the main event. So, coming off of a list,
I have one.
Off of a list. You got one?
When you're done too, then I have one as well. And I've thought of this one way before, so go ahead.
I would like the Runway to wrestle the Sea Stars.
Ooh, yes.
On the same line.
Actually.
On the same line as mine.
That's who I would like to see us wrestle.
I thought.
You know who I just thought of, honestly? I just thought of one. Honestly, and this is a team that I would like to see.
I would hope you're being honest.
Together. Shut up. That actually would be Ava and Davey M.
Ooh.
I mean, I remember them being when they were a tag team, and they haven't. And I would actually really like that to be a thing. Again, because they're both so talented. Well, them teaming up again because they're both so talented. But that's just me.
Mine would be, and they're both a little bit older in age. So my first one would be the West Hollywood Blondes. I'd like to see you guys.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I was literally telling somebody that the other day. Ironically enough, it's weird that you said that. Anyway, go on.
And the other one would be the Beautiful People.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
That would be a lot of sass for one ring.
It would It would be. And the match never ends, and you guys are just... Maybe you don't need Meghan Nelson anymore because you have the Beautiful People on your side all the time.
That is a group to really... Woo! That's too much for one ring, I think. I don't know if anywhere would be able to handle that.
That's chills. That is chills. Yes.
That's really what it is.
It is.
It is.
All right, guys. What else do we have going on? Do we have some new Runway merch coming? Do we have we have a new Instagram that you guys you're out there? Yes.
We decided to make a Runway Instagram and Twitter this time around, just so that we can kind of keep a little bit more, make it easier for people to tag. But
thank you.
Just kind of put it out there and posting more. I mean, you can still tag us individually. I'm still expecting that. Thank you.
Of course.
Merch,
Right.
of course. New T-shirts on the way. We're working on
So
a couple.
we have a few designs. We have some good designs. Mark, I know you'll like the one.
Oh, so am I pulling the old one from and making is there a new one that should take over as a tattoo?
Ooh, no.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Whew.
No, this
one's
is
a little
just
bit
a
more
new shirt
elaborate.
that I think you're going to enjoy.
Okay.
Not only that, new gear that I've of course been working on. So we're gonna get some new looks.
When is all this going to?
A lot of.
I want to know. Are we going to see this on the 28th? Anything new?
To be determined. It might come out in our fall line instead. We're still working with our a few more designs, and we're making final selections shortly. So it might be out for the 28th if we get an early release, but you might be seeing it in September.
I have some plans for the 28th anyway.
Can I get on the early release?
We'll get you a pre-order.
Yes.
We'll see. Wow, you're being nicer than me.
Yeah, I
I
know.
said we'll see.
That never happens. When did we
I
just
know.
have a heel face change on Mark all of a sudden? Because
No, we still have
me.
heat, Mark. Let's be real.
we do not.
We
We're
do.
talking about profit, so I guess we can
Yeah.
use these slots.
This is about making you look better.
Exactly.
It needs to make me look better. Now that we're on this point, we really do need to make myself look better. I have something booked for the 14th to go with the Ebony Sensation to take care of my mental healthness, which I think that should be a whole Mark day. So what are you guys doing the 14th? Because I'm just saying, I think hanging out with you, Paris Sahara, and myself, that would be the day that Mark needs.
Are we out of town that day?
Can we
To be determined.
Can we at least play that up a little bit and say, yes, that would have been great? But no, we're out of town.
I mean, it would have been for you, I can say.
Yes.
Oh, that's I believe that's a
It's a hard no, is what I'm getting.
well, I mean, unfortunately, we have a previous engagement on the 14th. That date.
Yeah, I know. I know you do.
Yeah.
So I just seen it like an hour before recording when I was stalking you to see if you guys put anything up on the social medias.
And why are you asking the questions, Mark?
Yeah. Wait.
Because this is people aren't going to go back a couple posts, so I might as well lead it forward.
A couple posts. I mean, everybody looks at our posts all the time.
That's what I mean. That's
your
not
posts.
my posts. My posts go over like a lead balloon half the time, unless you guys are on it.
Exactly.
Red balloon.
Wow.
That you never heard that one? That was like one of my grandfathers.
Oh, then it should probably stay in the past. Yeah, wow. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I think I just got older by hearing that. By that saying. Okay. Yeah.
All right, this is your time. What else do you want out there? What else were you going to chat about? I've taken up enough of your time. We got to 2PW. We got to Meghan Nelson making an ass out of herself. Mark's always there as well. New merch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're getting all the heat for Meghan. I mean, wasn't there other things? I mean, I've seen the posts. I've seen the backtracking. Maybe it's time to kick Meghan out.
Well, Megan's never in.
Wow.
She was.
Oh.
Megan's never. She's not a can crusher, so to speak. She was the only other person at the event that wanted to
She
come
was
on.
the correspondent for the event.
She was a correspondent.
Yes,
Okay.
that was Will she come on again? No, because she's thrown me under the bus on things as well. So there's heat.
Drama.
Drama's even better. Yes. No, I
Whoever
like
knew
drama.
there would be heat on the other end of the
On the other end of
the
what?
coin there. The other end of the sorry, I'm looking for the other end of the rails there. The other end of
The other side.
The other side. Why am I?
I don't know.
I can't.
Just don't say the other side of the lead balloon, the other end of the lead.
No, the other side of the
coin,
ring,
whatever.
Rail, ring.
Quit while you're
barricade.
There you go.
That's it.
We got there eventually.
There'd be heat on the other side of the barricade. Yeah.
Words,
whatever.
Question mark.
I'm the one that talks here. All right. I can miss a word every once in a while. All right.
You can.
It's true.
You can. Gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real. I thought it was real fun. You guys know I love you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, we didn't go over. So we've got more Camp Leapfrog, of course, coming up. We've got, we've got Alabama coming up.
Yep, we're making some debuts. We're making things happen. Some new states that are going to experience the runway.
Where in Alabama?
Where are we? Gadsden in Alabama. We're actually one of the featured men's matches on the with the Belladonnas division.
Nice.
The new Belladonnas division. We're going to be one of the featured men's matches, which is an honor for that. It's definitely interesting to be on the other side of the the event where we do get to be featured as men on the show. So that's an honor, because they could have picked a lot of other individuals, but they did pick the Runway to be featured in one of their events. So that's exciting.
And to be on there with so many talented female wrestlers is going to be great, and it's really going to be something that everybody's going to want to watch from start to finish. Like, I'm very excited, and like Calvin said, it's such an honor to be on something like this, because it's really we are just the extra. It's really the whole focus is on the amazing female talent that they're going to have.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I like what the Belladonna division's doing, and Mission Pro with Thunder Rosa. You guys both know that I love women's wrestling, and I essentially, for the big ones, I think the women's wrestling saved them during the pandemic. I will say that year and years down the line. What Mella and Sasha and all of them do, it's better storylines.
And Sasha's back, thank goodness. I cannot now. I'll watch WWE again now.
Right?
Because she's back.
I agree.
But yeah, we always have stuff coming on the line. I actually just posted a little more info about some of our stuff coming up in August. So there will be a September post here coming shortly. Hopefully things, maintain for us and stay busy. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. So it could take a turn, but, hopefully everyone out there can stay safe. And, we'll just keep getting through this, and then we'll continue to have things be back to a new normal. So, we're hoping things stay intact. We were pretty lucky to be one of to be pretty busy still during everything that's been happening. And, it's all about being safe and taking care of each other and ourselves, and, really just working together to get back to that normal. So, we hope that we can do our part in that, and
exactly,
and keep maintaining that schedule to give people that escape from reality, even if it's just for a few hours. So,
one more question for me, then if you guys want to keep talking, I'm fine. Do you see, with what could possibly go down again in the world, do you see more companies doing what Camp Leapfrog did? Because they essentially were the firsts to do something like that. And then a lot of people piggybacked and said, we just came up with this great idea. And Leapfrog did it. Do you see other organizations saying, hey man, we can do this. We can, have our wrestlers do this and then streamline it, essentially?
It depends.
It really does depend. I mean, the Leapfrog did, get things started And, there are a lot of companies that had a great success throughout the pandemic with it. I think that honestly, it a lot of the people that are getting looks today, the pandemic seriously helped them out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, I think that the pandemic really did help them out. And, that's why you're seeing a lot of these people on the major things, because like Fight TV, IWTV, YouTube, they're just getting out there and they're reaching a different audience. They're reaching a national audience instead of a local audience. So I think that's going to be more beneficial to people, and that's what's really, helped us out. But I really think that if, hopefully knock on wood that it doesn't happen, but if we do get, everything resurfaces and we have to go back to that, I think that there's going to be a lot of more people going through and doing that personally, but that's just me.
And I think it's going to be on a different level. I really think that it's not going to be the same as Leapfrog, where it's going to be kind of like that soap opera. I think it's going to be more of like a classic studio type of taping, which I kind of like. I think it brings a different aspect to it. But yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting. And then I think it teaches a lot of wrestlers too how to work a little differently and be more successful in a different way. So I think it can only do good. But yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Like I said, I hope it doesn't veer back to that, but it's all about adapting to the changes and what's going to occur.
For sure. All right, guys. Once again, thank you for stopping by Can Crushers. I think they should be every so often. And when you do see me out and about, you can critique what I have on or something to help me.
Well, they given.
Right. I mean, but you're going to say, hey, Mark, you have to go buy, this awesome shirt. And I go buy it and they're like, well, you didn't, or we just need to plan time to go spend all my wife's money and just buy me new stuff.
I'm down for that.
Exactly.
And maybe you guys can get something too. You're all right with that? Even better.
We're always shocked.
Even better.
All right, gentlemen, thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you definitely on August 28th for the Fashionista Street Fight as you take on the STDs at 2PW, retaining your tag team championships.
Is there any other way?
Well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. Calvin, still a little, I guess he's not salty. We won't say salty. He didn't like salty. So, nonetheless, we won't say that. But it didn't go as bad as it could have. And I think I might be close to getting a, date with them to fix up my stuff. It's just, we just can't pick the right date. Guys, the Runway, the most fashionable tag team ever in professional wrestling, and the 2PW Tag Team Champions. Again, August 28th, they'll be taking on the former champs, the STDs, in a Fashionista Street Fight match. I'm excited to see this. I really am. But guys, give them a like, a follow, love on all their social medias. Give Tyler and Calvin separate likes and follows on all their social medias, and just keep an eye on them. Man, they are great. They really are great human beings as well. Just still have a little bit of heat with them, apparently. So, nonetheless, that's what we have this week on Can Crushers. At least I don't have as much heat as Meghan Nelson does. I don't know. I think we make the call that Meghan Nelson does not return to Can Crushers anytime soon, unless she's going to talk about the Runway, and that's going to be rough for her. It's going to be rough for her. Guys, remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called the garbage can, not a garbage cannot.